We are thinking about binging the Netflix later on, but for now, we will be focusing on what it means to be future ready and to have this very important career conversation. So we've been hearing and seeing this term again and again this afternoon, future ready. So, Sir Jonathan, what does it mean to you when we say future ready learner? What is a future ready learner?
So first of all, I'm going to start with the word learner. And the word learning in itself is not an end game. So we often think that, okay, I'm going to finish this textbook on mathematics. I've learned already something. But remember that everything that you learn is a building block to another thing that you're going to learn in the future. So I need to emphasize more than anything else that learning is a lifelong activity, right? And I think that is also the theme, right? Being a lifelong learner is an important aspect. So learning does not stop after you finish university. Learning happens when you enter the corporate world. In fact, the reason why you went to school is because you're going to apply things to learn even more complex ideas when you go to either the government, NGOs, or even to a multinational company or a startup as well. So for me, when we talk about learning in this case, I need to have everyone believe in that mindset that it should not stop with just one thing, or it should not even be just one parcel and concept. So you might be into painting, but you might also want to navigate towards something else. It could be singing. It could also be analytics of math. So multiple intelligence is also something that I need to celebrate as part of learning in this case.
I see. Thank you very much, Sir Jonathan. So it looks like you're really a believer of John Dewey's concept of lifelong learning, as well as Howard Gardner with his multiple intelligences. That's great. So for all of our viewers here today, you may be in school now. And actually, this talk is not just for you because you are a learner. It will continue, as Sir Jonathan said. You have a whole life ahead of you full of learning. So wonderful to hear that. So that is your take on what it means to be a learner. And do you think when we say future ready learning, it means you have that mindset that it won't stop after you complete a course or read a certain textbook?
Because good question. Because when you say future ready, the future can mean the future in the next 5 years or 10 years. But the moment we finish those 10 years, it's going to be a different set of future again. And again, and again, and again. So being future ready or being future proof, if I may also use that, means that you're always anticipating of what's going to happen next. You're always anticipating of what may change. So for example, I remember 5 years ago, we were always talking about artificial intelligence. And then just a few weeks or months ago, we're all now into ChatGPT, which a lot of multinational and Silicon Valley companies were not expecting to come into play, right? 10 years ago, cryptocurrency wasn't yet into play, and yet finally it's becoming also more mainstream. So I think future ready is to always assume that I want to equip myself in the next 5 years, but after those 5 years, I acknowledge that there is another batch of equipping that needs to happen again and again. So more than anything else, it's about the mindset of the person.
Okay, thank you, Sir Jonathan. Wonderful to hear that. So anticipating what's going to happen next and the mindset that it's always going to be changing. So do you think, would you consider that as part of one of the 3 most relevant skills that learners need today and being able to anticipate change? Or do you have another top 3 skills that you would say are most important for learners today?
Good question again. So part of being future ready assumes that what you've learned in school, meaning technical skills about mathematics, English, etc., will never be enough. So when you enter the corporate world, and I will say this now, it's always advantageous to graduate with honors. So for example, in my case, top 3 things, communication skills. No matter how intelligent or smart you are, but if you don't know how to convey that into a PowerPoint slide, and you don't know how to deliver that in only 5 minutes, because mind you, the typical pitfall of a fresh graduate is to explain something for 20 minutes when someone else can only say it for only 2 minutes. And so you've beaten around the bush, and people are still waiting for you to deliver the conclusion of your presentation. So communication skills is important. The second I'd like to add is leadership. So leadership is the ability to influence people even if they do not report to you in the hierarchy of the organization. It's the ability to make someone be inspired that because you have a vision, I think I can follow what you want to happen because I trust that you will get me from point A to point B.
Mhm.
So communication, leadership. The third one, this is tricky because I think there are so many, 21st century skills that I can think of. But the third, I would say critical thinking. And critical thinking is the ability to look always at the bigger picture. So what do I mean by that? Just to give an example, your manager gives you 20 bazillion things to do on a Monday. The tendency of a fresh graduate is to say, my boss told me kailangan kong gawin lahat ito. So I'm going to finish all of them because it needs to be done. But a critical thinker will say, okay, my manager may be panicking because she thinks there are also a lot of things to do. But of these 20 things, which top 3 items are the most important that will deliver money for business? I'm going to prioritize those top 3. And then the other 17 things, I'm going to negotiate with my boss and tell them, can we do this instead on a Tuesday or on a Friday? Because I understand the bigger picture more than anything else. So you do not miss the forest for the trees. So those 3. So critical thinking, communication skills, and also leadership.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that.